Welcome to Board Game Banter, the series where I share my thoughts on 5 board games I've recently played. Were they genuinely good or just not my taste? Let's find out, one game at a time. The first game I have on the list is Magical Athlete. Magical Athlete is a racing game where you roll a dice and you then move your character. Magical Athlete has been a very interesting game for me, as the actual mechanics are very simple. You just roll your dice and you then move your character. But what's really interesting about this game are the type of racers that you acquire throughout the entire game. Each racer has their own special ability, which can break a lot of rules that this game has. For example, there are racers where you can warp your racer to an opponent's racer. There are some where if you move into the same space as an opponent racer, you eliminate them from the race. There's definitely a lot of wackiness in this game and things that you just really can't control. You roll your dice, you move your character, and you see how the effects take place throughout the race. But the interesting decisions are made before the races actually start. At the start of every game, there is a draft where you draft all your racers. And that's where you really want to be picky and choosy on which type of racers you want for the 4 racers. Afterwards, once you draft your 4 racers, you choose which racer you want for each race. Once a racer is used, you no longer use them for the rest of the game. The game is wacky and very unpredictable. I personally enjoyed this game. This is kind of a party game, but more of a board game, but it's very simple. You roll your dice, you move your character, and anyone can play this. Also, this game is plug and play. I really enjoyed how CMYK made everything just ready to go. You open the box and you're pretty much ready to play. The only thing you need to punch out are the actual points that you score. Other than that, everything's in nice little baggies where you can just open the box and start playing. So did I enjoy this game? Yeah, very much. This is a game I'm definitely keeping in my collection. And this is one that I would for sure pull out when I'm going to any family gathering, because it's so simple to learn and teach. If you're enjoying the content so far, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Now, on to the next game. Take Time is a cooperative card game. In Take Time, each player will be placing a card face down around a clock. And once all cards are placed, every card will be revealed and each one must be in ascending order around a clock. If the group is able to do so, you win the game. Take Time offers multiple scenarios. So the first scenario will be the easiest, but then the second will be harder, and the third, and so on and so forth. Throughout the game, you cannot communicate. The only time you can communicate is after every player has received their cards. They cannot look at them, but they can discuss what type of game plan they want to do. Afterwards, once every player sees their cards, they can no longer communicate until the end of the round. Certain scenarios will offer different challenges. For example, in this scenario, when you place cards in this area, they must be 3 cards. No more, no less. And in this section, the actual sum must be between 8 and 12. So as you start placing your cards face down, you need to make sure that you have a sum of this number in this section. And that's basically the game in a nutshell. In my personal experience, I found it fairly easy to teach, and the group understood it very quickly. So we were able to get in and start playing and strategizing really quick. At the end of each round, you're only going to be playing a total of 12 cards. So each round plays very quickly as well. And you would think only playing 12 cards, it wouldn't be very tense. But as you're playing each card and you're down to just 2 cards left, that tension ramps up very quickly, where you have other players grunting, making noises, as everyone's unsure where they're playing their cards and they're hoping that you played a certain card at a certain spot. And I love that this game adds that natural tension throughout the round. So what do I think of Take Time? Well, I believe Take Time is a fun, easy to teach, and easy to learn card game. In this game, it is limited to 4 players. And as mentioned, your mileage will vary depending if you like playing with players or your gaming group likes playing cooperative games. You can't communicate. That is common within cooperative games. But if you play with a group that loves working together and cooperating, you'll very much enjoy this game. And the scenarios ramp up and they get very hard very quickly. So yeah, if you're into co-op games, I would definitely recommend Take Time. I really enjoyed my time with this one. And this is another one I'm keeping in my collection. Yeah, this one's so good. Beautiful artwork, beautiful gameplay, very simple and elegant. Yeah, there's some replayability in this one. But before I continue, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Box King. Box King has been a big supporter of this channel, and I'd like to share a little bit more about their product, such as the Kingswood Gaming Table. This table is crafted from premium solid wood with a beautiful smooth finish that instantly elevates any gaming room. The deep felt-lined playing surface keeps your cards, dice, and pieces right where they belong. No slipping or sliding during those intense moments. Plus, the sturdy frame and legs provide rock-solid stability, even when the game heats up. It's loaded with gamer-friendly features like built-in cup holders to keep drinks safe, and clever storage compartments for your favorite games and accessories. Everything you need right at your fingertips. Assembly is simple. Materials are top quality, and the design fits perfectly whether you're playing board games, card games, or diving into your favorite RPG campaigns. If you're interested, you can get 10% off your Box King order if you use the code BANTER at checkout. Thanks again to Box King for sponsoring this video. Now, on to the next one. Next up, I have Hot Streak. Hot Streak is a betting game where you are betting on these wacky mascots racing throughout a track. Whoever has the most money after 3 races wins the game. This is another easy to teach and easy to learn game. Before each race, each player will make 2 different types of bets. One type of bet they can make is on one of the racers on who will win first place. Another type of bet they can make is on a side bet. Each side bet will change throughout every race. Each bet that you take, you can play it safe or you can play it risky, potentially giving you more money if the mascot that you chose gets first, or less money if it gets second or third. After each player takes their bets, each player will grab a card from their hand and place it into the racing deck. This racing deck will actually determine the outcome of the race. So every player has an influence on how the race ends up. Once every player has done so, we shuffle the deck and then the race begins, flipping 1 card at a time from this deck. Each card will determine which mascot will move, either forward, backward, or to the right, to the left, swerving, tripping. A lot of crazy stuff happens in this race. And once the race is over, each player will gain their money that they won or lose money depending on the bets that they chose. And that's the game. You do that for 2 more rounds, and whoever has the most money wins the game. The decisions that you make are very simple, and you can pick and choose which characters you want to bet on. But you do have that decision on how you want to influence the race. Or if you know that an opponent is winning and they have so much money that they're going for and you know who they're betting for, you can play a card that may hurt them. Also, I believe the funnest part of the game is just seeing how the actual race plays out. The decisions that you make before each race are straightforward. You're choosing your bets and that's it. And then afterwards you place that card, which is interesting. But the funnest part is just seeing how the race plays out. You flip it and then you see what happens. And it creates organically a pretty tense race for the most part, and very wacky and hilarious where mascots trip, they turn around, they fall off the track, crazy stuff happens. I just wish the race lasted longer, because typically it lasts like a minute or 2 where everybody's shouting, having a good time. They're hoping that their mascot makes it. And then once it's over, it just kind of like quiets down, everybody puts their bets back, and then you just kind of do it again. That's not anything bad. The decisions are simple, very easy game to bring to a family gathering as well. That's been the common thing within these games so far. These are great games to bring to a family gathering. I've enjoyed that a lot. I just wish there was a bit more excitement on the actual betting aspect of it. However, the racing aspect is done very well. I love that kind of deck building mechanic in that sense where everybody's influencing the deck and it changes up. However, the race just happens in an instant and then it's just kind of, okay, go back to it. That's not necessarily a bad thing, as you can play this game very quickly. I just feel like it feels like a roller coaster. everybody's at an absolute high when the race starts and everybody gets very into it. I've played this with 2 different groups with how the dynamics are always different, but everybody gets like very crazy and shouting when the race starts. But once it stops, like it just like drops dramatically and everybody's just kind of putting that, collecting their money, and they're like, okay, and then everybody's just kind of thinking, and it just like, it slows down dramatically. It just like ramps up quickly and then it just has a big drop. So I just found that a little weird in how that pacing was. But other than that, like, I mean, it is a fun game. I've enjoyed it and I'm definitely going to keep it because it is super easy to teach. Again, that's just my experience. That lull just felt weird to me as I played this multiple times with different groups of people, and that happened every time. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just something I noticed, especially for such a simple game like this, that there was like just a big drop and rise in pacing with this game. So again, I still very much enjoyed this game and I look forward to playing it again, but that may be something to expect if you were to play this. Now, on to the next one. The next game I have up is Origin Story. Origin Story is an engine building trick taking game. In Origin Story, you're doing just that, creating the origin story of your superhero or super villain. Now, this is a trick taking game, so that mechanic plays very similar to any other trick taking game. The one leading plays a card, playing the lead suit, and everyone must follow suit. If they cannot, they could play a card of any other suit. In this game, there is a trump suit. The heart, which is the love suit, is the trump suit, meaning if it is played, it will trump any other suit. Whichever is the highest love card played wins that trick. In Origin Story, this game is played in 5 rounds. At the start of each round, every player will grab 8 cards. They will also grab 3 story cards. Now, these story cards are different abilities and effects that your character will have throughout the round. Out of the 3 story cards that you grab, you will choose one and place it onto your character's origin story. Afterwards, you'll choose if you want to be a hero or a villain for this round. Now, this is important because if you choose to be a hero, you'll win 1 victory point for each trick that you win. If you choose to be a villain, you'll win 4 points if you don't win any tricks. As the round is played, you can use the certain abilities that your player has throughout the story cards that you've acquired. And once all 8 tricks have been played, the round ends and you score your victory points. Whoever has the most victory points at the end of 5 rounds wins the game. On round 5, you won't receive a story card. Rather, you'll reveal one of the 2 hero cards that you were given at the beginning of the game. These hero cards give you victory points as soon as you reveal it, or may give you ongoing effects for this last round. So as you can tell, there's a lot going on in this trick-taking game. The trick-taking mechanics there, it's familiar. We all know what a trick-taking game is at this point with the lead suit, and everyone follows with that one trump suit. But what changes are the different abilities each character acquires throughout the game. And that's where things become even trickier. I personally really enjoyed it. I think this creates a more gamier version of a trick-taking game because there's different abilities that you can choose and customize. And the engine building aspect is as you acquire these abilities, you get what's called these charge tokens every round. These charge tokens are essentially the resources that you have to trigger said ability. I also personally really enjoy that you can choose to be a hero or a villain at the start of every round because you're no longer victim to the hand that you were dealt. If you had a bad hand, that's okay. Go for the villain. You can score 4 points. At most, a hero can only score 8 points as there's only 8 tricks being played in a round. So there's a lot of player agency in this game, which I'm a big fan of. However, when I played it with the group recently, some others weren't a fan of it as there was just too much going on. So your mileage will vary, and this is a trick-taking game that you need to play with people already familiar with the trick-taking mechanic and have played plenty of trick-taking games. This is definitely not one I would recommend to bring to a group that has never played a trick-taking game. But there were a few things that I noticed that I didn't quite like. First of all, the player that you choose has their own unique ability at the start of every game and can always be triggered every round. Some characters lean more towards the hero, while other characters lean more towards the villain. So keep that in mind, as when you pick a certain character, then you may want to pick more cards that may lean towards that villain where you want to lose tricks instead of winning them. However, you're only drawing 3 story cards, so sometimes you may not draw any story cards that lean towards that villain aspect or hero aspect. And it kind of creates this counterproductive effect where you have effects that want you to really lose tricks while you have effects only that really wants you to win tricks. So just keep that in mind. That wasn't a big deal, as you still have that choice, but you won't optimize the most points that you could because of that player that you have. Also, I noticed a little bit of imbalance, and I just may be bad at trick-taking games. I'm nowhere as experienced as others, but there was 1 or 2 cards that I thought were extremely overpowered in this game. In the games that I played, the player who had this card always won. Now, I could just be a sore loser and just bad at trick-taking games, but there was one specific card that just seemed way too strong in this game. That card is the leadership card. Now, oh my goodness, I thought this was just way too strong, because the ability on this card says whenever you lead, you can choose an opponent to lead instead, and you get 1 victory point. So essentially, we had one round where a person won all 8 tricks and they kept having someone else lead. And so they were getting a victory point every time they did that. And so instead of winning 8 victory points, they won 16 victory points. And I feel like whoever leads is always at a disadvantage, and whoever has the last play has hindsight and has a better idea on what to play. So the person who had that ability kept choosing the character or the opponent where they would go last. So they would always have hindsight. And so it became this loop that we could not break. And granted, we just may be bad at this and we're just not good at trick-taking games. I do enjoy trick-taking games and I've played it. And so it was a little frustrating. So what are my thoughts? Well, Origin Story, I believe, is a great, solid trick-taking game with a lot of different things going on that adds a lot of replayability in this game. I'm personally keeping this one. I really liked it. However, I know this is going to be a harder game to pull out. I play with just a lot of players who aren't familiar with trick takers. So I just know this is just going to be harder to pull out, harder to teach, as there's just a lot of other things going on as you're building your engine. There's just a lot of abilities to keep track of. So if you're playing with individuals who are already familiar with trick-taking games, I think this is solid. Definitely give this one a shot. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. But something to keep in mind, if you don't play with others who don't play trick takers, it's going to be hard to get on the table. Like I really do think so. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Origin Story. Solid, great trick-taking game. Like, I really enjoyed it. There's a lot going on in this one. Yeah. Now, on to the next one. And last but not least, I have Distilled. Distilled has a lot of things going on in this game. So this is a thematic Euro game, and thematic it is. In Distilled, you have acquired a distillery, and well, you are trying to distill spirits, whether it be whiskey, tequila, and so much more. And the rounds are broken down in different phases. There's the acquiring phase, where you're acquiring the different ingredients that you need to make the spirit that you want to distill. Then there's the distilling phase, where you grab all the ingredients that you had, such as the wheat, the water, and the type of sugar that you have to create a certain spirit, and you mix it all together. And this is one of my favorite aspects of this game, where you're shuffling the cards, you're distilling the ingredients, and then you remove the top card and the bottom card of these cards. This is thematic to the distilling process, which I don't know much about, but I was looking this up, where you're removing the head and the tail, or the top and the bottom. I'm already showing like my ignorance on this, but the head and the tail of each barrel of like each batch that you have. So it's supposed to be thematic. And then whatever ingredients that remain is what you were able to distill. So if there was a type of sugar there that still remained, then congrats, you've created a tequila or a whiskey. However, if there's no sugar there, then sometimes you only just create moonshine. Afterwards, once you've distilled everything, you then barrel it up on your choice of barrel, whether it be a steel barrel, a wooden barrel, and then you sell it. And then you do it again and again. And whoever has the most victory points, depending on just the spirits that they sold, wins the game. Now, this game is a bit heavier than all the other games we've talked about in this video, but the game itself is pretty approachable considering the amount of things that you do in this game. I love how it's a Euro game, but there's also a push your luck element with the type of ingredients that you have, and you don't know what's going to be removed. But I love how the game doesn't really punish you that bad, because if you make a spirit that you didn't want, such as a moonshine, you can still make some money off of it and some victory points. And the ingredients that were removed aren't eliminated from the game. It goes back to your pantry. So you don't lose out on it. You have it for the next round. While on the other hand, if you make something really good like a whiskey or tequila, you can age it and keep it in your warehouse. And every time you age a certain type of spirit, you gain these flavor cards. And these flavor cards are a mystery until you actually sell it. And these flavor cards give you more money when you finally decide to sell it, and give you so many more victory points. So it still rewards you. Even if you made something that you wanted or that you didn't want, you're still gonna earn something out of it, whether it be through victory points or money to help you for the next round. So if you're looking for something a little bit heavier, this one's a very approachable, heavier, medium weight Euro game. So Distilled, very thematic, very approachable for a Euro game. And if you don't mind some of that push your luck element, I highly recommend Distilled. Yeah, this one's climbing up for me. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. And if you've enjoyed the content, please feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. Now, do you like small box games? Well, I got a list for you. You can see my favorite 10 small games here.